I have a pack that I have carried with me. I think I bought this pack in 1985. And this is the same pack, and this pack has been all over the country with me. I have some stuff in this pack that I carry for very specific reasons that are in a very specific order. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run right down through this pack, show you what's in it, why it's there, and what I do with it. And then if you're not bored to tears, we'll answer some questions and we'll wrap this thing up. We consider ourselves viable, physically operating, everything functioning good. We're going to get out there, go hunting, camping, hiking, and everything's fine. And we might not be going down with a bush plane in the Northwest Territories. We might be behind Grandma's barn hunting deer. And it might be as simple as we just fell off our last tree stand peg and we twisted our ankle and we can't get back to the barn. We're within sight of the house. But it's getting dark and it's 50 degrees and it's drizzling a little bit, and believe it or not, that's the only recipe you need for hypothermia to have you in pretty bad shape in about 3 hours. So what we have here in our pack, in the top of my pack, in this little compartment that all packs have, when I unzip this, very first thing I can get to is a flashlight. We all know why that's important, right? It gets dark, you got to see. We have a flashlight. Being able to see dispels a lot of worry quickly. The other thing I have in here is a vest that every deer hunter owns. Even if I'm hiking up on the Chattooga River on the Foothills Trail, this vest is in here because I'm dressed like the average hiker, right? We're wearing khaki and green, and if I slip off the trail and roll down in the gully in the rhododendrons and twist my knee and can't get back up there, the least I can do is make sure people can see me. And this is where I can get to it without digging through anything. It's right here so I can get this on or get it on a stick and get above my head to make myself visible. This is critical. I have a sandwich bag in here. It's actually a quart freezer bag. And in this bag, I have a map of the area. I have a compass. I have a piece of paper, an indelible ink pen, and I have some surveyor's tape and a whistle and a lighter. I'm just going to just run down the drill here real quick. I'm just going to dump this out, tell you what's in here and why. Proper prior preparation. We mentioned that. Part of that is knowing where you're at before you get there. With today's technology, it's so easy. We have Terra Server and Google Earth. If you're going on a bear hunt in Saskatchewan, you can call your guide and get the coordinates, the grid coordinates where you're going to be. And you can look at the aerial photos and know more about where you're going to be than your guide does. Why is that important? Your guide drops you off on a bear hunt. He says, I'll be back at 3 p.m. and pick you up. 3 p.m. you walk out there to the lake shore, you look around, no guide. You see something out in the lake. You get your binoculars, you look. Your guide is out there slumped over the outboard motor. The motor stalled. He was pulling it. He had a heart attack. He's floating out there. He's the only person that knows where you're at. So now what are your options? You can turn right and walk down the lake shore, or you can turn left and walk down the lake shore. Now, what if turning right is 64 miles of lake shore and nothing? And turning left, there's an old hunting camp 5 miles. I call that your 4D plan. That's your drop dead do or die plan. You've got to know before you go into an area that if all else goes bad, if you go due east and hit the stream and go downstream, you'll hit the road. Or if you follow the ridge to the end and drop in the valley, there's a road. I mean, you got to have some perspective on where you're going to go. If everything goes south, that's going to get you where you need to be. You need your map and your compass to stay oriented to get you there if necessary. You have your piece of paper and an indelible ink pen and your surveyor's tape. My past experience with people lost on the trail is they don't just head one direction to go 85 miles. They cover the same quarter mile continuously, back and forth on the trail. Sometimes there's an upper trail and a lower trail, and if you have boys, they're up there and you're down here, and then you're up there and down there. around and around. And I've done that personally. I've spent a lot of time taking youth groups from different churches to the woods. And you give them specific directions and they deny those immediately and sail off into the woods, and then we have to go look for them. You write a note on that piece of paper and you say, I found Harry and I have Frank and we're all healthy and we're going back to camp. And then you put that in the middle of the trail under a rock and your buddies see that and they're not looking for you anymore and they all come back to the camp. That saves a lot of hassle. If you realize you are indeed spending the night in the woods, there's no choice. The trail's on top of a ridge and the wind's cutting across that ridge and you've got to get out of the weather. So you're going to break down over the hill, get in the middle third of the hill. It's cold on the bottom, windy on top. That's where you're going to be the best. But you want people to know that. You're going to take your surveyor's tape and you're going to hang it right in the middle of the trail and you're going to write on it with your indelible ink pen your name, you're okay, you went due south to get out of the weather. At the break of the hill, you're going to hang another one, and then you go down there and take your shelter for the night. Today's seminar doesn't lend itself to me getting into great detail about shelter, but I'm going to cover something real easy for you in a minute. That kind of covers what's in the top of the pack, and that covers your immediate problem.